In a realm where dreams and reality intertwine, the final battle brews. The gods of order have vanished, despite priests like Dantess and Myra struggling to maintain peace, and the Harbingers of Chaos fan the flames of rebellion, bringing the world to the brink of war. Galen, drawn into the heart of the dreaming, an eternal realm where past, present, and future collide, confronts not only his nemesis, the cunning Carnaubas, but a horrifying truth. The exiled gods of order still hunger for domination. Luckily, Galen is not alone. Eve, a young girl gifted with an uncanny ability to see the threads that connect everything, joins him on a desperate quest to find the elusive god of chaos. Their only hope for preventing order's return. The realm of gods is more than just a story. It is a descent into the battle between order and chaos, a testament to the enduring power of human connection, and a battle cry for rebellion against tyranny. Join the heroes you love on their final climactic dance between despair and hope in the last leg of this extraordinary journey that you'll never forget. The Realm of Gods, Chronicles of Chaos, Book 3. Written and narrated by Glenn Dahlgren. Alright, so it has been a while since I reviewed a book in this series. Unfortunately, though, I did not have time to go back and listen to all the books in order for this franchise or series of books. But I do remember I gave the previous books in this series rather high scores. I don't think they got perfect scores, but they were pretty up there. They were pretty high. I really enjoyed the first few books. So, and this one is marketed as the finale of the series, of this book series. So, let's go ahead and dive into the last chapter, book, whatever you want to call it, for the Chronicles of Chaos, the Realm of Gods. Alright, so starting with the cover and title. I'm going to give it 5 stars. This is probably one of my more favorite covers that he has done for this book series. I really like the green on black, the weird, like older hand touching a younger hand. Although I look at it and I think a mirror, but I don't recall there being a mirror involved in this story at all. So, I mean, that is a little bit misleading. So, but other than that, I like the colors and stuff. I wish I had the money to get as good of a cover done as he does, because, wow, he must have spent a pretty penny on getting this cover done. But, yeah, I wish I had the money to do that, and I don't. Like I said, it's one of those things where he definitely puts the title before the rest of the book. Before himself, It's got all the information you need right there on the cover. It's book 3. The title is perfectly well placed. As for the title of the book, there is one little nitpick I have, but I'll dive into that more when we get to the story portion. So, but other than that, like I said, I really enjoyed. Uh, I I just don't. The only real nitpick is the whole mirror aspect. I don't recall there being a mirror, but all right. So moving on to narration, and narration is also going to get 5 stars. I've said this before, and I will say this again. If the writer has a really good voice and can do voices of characters, I mean, who better knows what the characters should sound like than the author themselves? But, I mean, the fact that he, as an author, narrated his own book is, I mean, I edit YouTube videos. I write my own books. I have my own book series, The Guardian of Light. Um, I just finished book 6, but I'm also a single parent, and I got another job. Plus, I do this YouTube channel. And yeah, I do this partly for my book series to promote it, but I also do it so that my daughter and anyone else in my family, they can check us out on our YouTube channel and feel like they're living with us, or my daughter can come back and remember these times where we reviewed movies and stuff together. Um, so I don't have a lot of time is the basic point. And I don't even know if anyone would like to hear me narrate my own audiobook. I mean, I think my voice is not the greatest, but I mean, I've heard a lot of people say I should because I have a voice for radio. I don't see it, but I mean, this author, he does do his own, and he's really good at it. Like, if he wanted to stop writing, I'm sure he can make a career out of narrating audiobooks. So, um, yeah. Plus, he takes a lot of. I mean, this has got to be this guy's bread and butter because I know I've have him on Facebook and I see him all the time posting about book signings that he does. Uh, I'm sure he has like a website he takes care of. So he's planning to go out to book signings, which means he's probably bringing copies of his own book. I would love to do stuff like that. I just, unfortunately, again, I don't have the time. Unless my book starts selling, I don't have the time to actually do the things I'd love to do or afford the covers I'd love to afford. But this guy is very lucky and very talented. So that's why, I mean, the narration is 5 stars because it is by the author, and the author is really good at narrating his own story. Moving on to the writing. For the writing, I'm going to give it 5 stars. The reason why is because it is really good story. It doesn't necessarily wrap up everything, which is the thing I was talking about earlier. My one little nitpick. Like, even though it's a really good story, um, and I guess that I'll save that for actually the story portion, but no, the writing is really good. Uh, every when you are given a scene or a chapter, you can really envision it in your mind because it's so well written. So, moving on to characters. Now, for characters, again, I'm going to give this 5 stars, which at this point, like I said, I think I reviewed this before. Not this book exactly, but I've reviewed books by this author before, and I really enjoyed every single time listening to his books. There wasn't too many new characters. There was some, but not too many. Um, we got to see all the old classic characters return, and not everyone makes it, which is fine. I actually have no problem with that. I think if you're a writer and you are not killing off characters, then your audience is going to think you're playing it too safe. So the fact that he could let a character go says a lot about his potential. And there are times I was thinking of making a whole video of this, and maybe I will. But I've watched a couple different videos about when should you kill a character off. And I mean, if you think it's best for the story, just do it. If anyone who has read my book series, you will know I am no stranger to killing off characters. Beloved characters, too. Do they all have a reason? Maybe. Possibly. That's for you to determine. I don't come right out and say what that reason is, what my reason was for doing it. I want to see if my readers can grasp where I was going. So, plus I don't want to do spoilers. So, please, if you have read my books, please do not spoil any deaths in the comments below. Now moving on to the final section, story. And for story, I am going to give this book 5 stars. But it was kind of close to getting a 4 stars for story. And the reason is this. So the title is called The Realm of Gods. But we're mostly in Galen's dream world. There's only really 1 or 2 times we go into a god's world. And it would have been kind of interesting. It would have been kind of interesting to actually go through the different worlds that belong to these different gods and kind of get a glimpse at what they envision their world to be. I think it was the god of evil is very hell-like. It's described as very hell-like. And then I guess this character was tasked by many gods to do something. But we didn't see that. We only hear about it. So it would have been interesting to see them pull him into each of their worlds and talk to him. Just to get a glimpse at some of the other different worlds that were being created by these gods. And I also want to say, too, I had no problem, as I said before, with the killing of characters. What I had an issue with is this is supposed to be the last book in the series, but it didn't feel like it. And I'll get into more of that after. The author actually does say something about it. and how he leaves the series off. Um, but I feel like it should have gotten a more definitive finale for certain characters. But there's kind of a big cliffhanger at the end that leads you like, oh, so is this the last book? What? Um, so yeah. Also, I do want to say, um, in fact, I think I was leading to this, but at one point there was something that came up. I hate trying to do this without spoiling the book, but being an author myself, I know how upset the authors would probably get if I go and spoil everything in their book. Um, but there's this whole thing between all these lower gods. I'm gonna call them lower gods because there seems to be two almighty gods in this universe: the god of order and the god of chaos. Two that we actually, well, I guess two that we really don't see. Um, we see some version of the god of chaos, but apparently it's not the true god. It's just an iteration. It's a creation, like a small piece of chaos. So I was talking to a friend of mine about this book, and it was basically about something that happened, and we had just previously, like a couple weeks before, been having a conversation about something that this book brought up. And at that point, when I was talking about this, I thought that the author was going in a certain direction with his story. I'm like, okay, so is he going in the direction that chaos can never be eliminated and order can never defeat chaos? No matter how many soldiers, no matter what it throws at chaos, like, they're both going to be massively eternal because of the fact that, well, here's the conversation me and my friend were having. If you have a world that is pure and utter chaos with no order, it would be doomed to fail. But if you also had a world with order, I mean, there's no free will. It's not even really a world. It's just a machine that's running. So, for a perfect balance, for a perfect world, you need as much order as there is chaos. Like, they have to exist in a harmonic state. They have to exist like yin and yang, you know? And I kind of thought that's where he was going with this idea, but apparently not. He ended up going in a different direction with it, but I felt like for a moment that might be where he was leading. And honestly, I mean, when I was talking to my buddy about this, he's like, well, you could have a world without chaos. And I said, no, because anything that happens unexpected would be chaotic. There are people who can have chaotic things happen to them that aren't necessarily bad. For example, if you and your friend both play the lottery every week and your friend wins, or even let's say you win the lottery. Well, that's a great thing for you, but now your friend is going to be upset that he didn't win. And yeah, you might be willing to share, but if you don't share, that could cost you your friendship. Introducing now the chaos. It'll also bring with it, too, all the people that, like, everybody knows this happens. This isn't a surprise. When somebody wins the lottery, you'll have so many friends coming out of the woodworks telling you owe them this, or they should, if they're really your friend, you should help them by giving them money, and that too can be chaos. So you got something good, you won the lottery, but now your life is going to become more chaotic because of the money. So I feel like chaos isn't always necessarily a bad thing. It sounds bad. It usually leads to some bad things. But I think in a perfect world, chaos and order are supposed to be balanced. One can never be stronger than the other. Otherwise, it would be bad. So anyways, we are going to take a break. When we come back, I will talk about the extras and then I'll give my final score. See you all in a minute.
For thousands of years, the world has been protected by the Guardian of Light, or as he is more commonly known, Santa Claus. Over the centuries, factors such as fear and prejudice, greed and jealousy, misunderstandings, betrayal and war have segregated most humans from the magical world of elves, fairies, wizards, and the like. This has resulted in many misconceptions and generalizations of the true nature of Santa and his world.
This 6-book series by Sean Connaughton begins as the current of a long series of guardians is murdered by a group of monstrous enemies recently escaped from an enchanted South Pole prison. These creatures are loyal to the darkness, an evil force determined to exterminate the light in order to enslave all creatures of the world.
Shane Connor, an average young man, suddenly finds himself being trained as the new guardian. As he adapts to his new life among fantastic creatures, he goes on an adventurous quest with a legendary wizard for the ultimate weapon to use against the darkness, and faces murderous enemies like Rasputin, Morgana Le Fay, Krampus, and many more.
Along with his best friend, Joe Gomez, Shane encounters politics, history, mysterious murders, new loves, his own hidden past, and racial dynamics among the fantasy races that turn out to be all too real. Their adventures reveal the true nature of the world and challenge the current state of how all races interact.
This series expertly melds myths, legends, history, faiths, folklore, and secret societies into a fascinating, cohesive, comprehensive world of wonder and magic.
From Atlantis to Olympus, from Hades to the moon, and from broomstick races to Christmas deadlines, join the new Santa Claus on his amazing journey. But beware, will Shane's quest achieve his ultimate goal of destroying the darkness and preserving the light of the world? Or is he actually playing right into a plot by dark forces that will result in his, and our, ultimate doom?
So make your list and check it twice for the Guardian of Light book series. Download your audiobook or ebook today from Audible, Amazon, or iTunes.
Okay, so moving on to extras. So he does kind of have an epilogue, and there aren't any really extras except for there is a letter to his readers where he talks about his future as a writer and how he's sort of stepping away from writing. He doesn't know if he's going to come back and do any more books. But this portion, we'll call it this arc of his books, is done. And if he does come back, it'll either be with new characters in the world or it'll be a spin-off book here and there. But yeah, so there's that. And for me, I found that interesting because I just finished writing book 6, and for the last couple years I was actually stretching the idea that, this book 6, is going to be the last book in my current series as this arc ends. It's the last book of the arc. It's not the last Guardian of Light book, but it will be the last book in the arc. I came up with quite a few different adventures that's going to take more than one book to really get out there and keep Shane's journey going. But I wouldn't say that to my audience that I was thinking of stepping away, because honestly I can't. Like I said, I mean, it's either write and hope that, enough of my viewers decide to check out my books and maybe leave reviews. I will say that. That's another thing he stretches in his note to his readers, is how important reviews like this one. And I full-heartedly agree with that. I full-heartedly agree that, yes, we authors live and die by our reviews, by people checking out our content, even if that's other writers. When I do these reviews, yes, first off, I don't charge them. I don't charge anybody for the reviews, because I feel like if I charge you for it, then you're going to expect a good review, and I don't want to feel forced into doing that. If you write a good book, I'm going to tell you wrote a good book. If you wrote a bad book, I'm going to tell you what I thought was bad. Doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean I'm an expert. That was just one reader's opinion. So, I don't expect everybody to like my books. I've had at the minimum, or at the worst, I should say, I actually have had reviews. I had one review that was somewhat negative. I did a review of it. I did a reaction to it on my channel. And these guys who were reviewing my first book, first off, they only read the first book in the series. But even that, they were like, well, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. I mean, their opinion might change if they read the other books. But yeah, I mean, that's my thing. So I full-heartedly agree with him. We do live and die by our reviews. And if someone is reviewing, then it would be at least helpful to actually check out that person's book if they have one, just out of camaraderie, I believe is the word. Because every review helps. Every read helps. And so I've actually recently started making it sort of like, okay, yeah, I'll check out your book, you check out mine, I'll give you an honest review in exchange for an equally honest review of my work. Did you like it? How much did you like it? Whatever you want to say about it. If you want to say it was garbage, fine, go ahead. But at least check it out. That's all I'm asking. And that's all he's asking, is for people to just leave a review. I know that's a hard thing nowadays. I mean, not unless people want to be negative. A lot of times people won't even leave comments. I'm guilty of that. I watch so many YouTube videos. And unless I have something to add to the conversation, I don't typically leave a comment. So, but yeah, I mean, you guys just saw the ad for my book. You listened to this whole review. So, I mean, if you like this work, if you like his book, then since I don't get a lot of reviews, I don't get a lot of people actually checking out my book, that's what I'm asking you. Help a fellow author out. I mean, if you guys are fans of his work, hopefully I can bring you on board with mine. Hopefully you'll become a fan of my work too. It's not the same. It's not like old-timey fantasy. It's not otherworldly fantasy. It's similar in style to probably Harry Potter. Only better. But I'll let you be the judge of that. And my friend, he told me, he's like, you got a lot of balls to say that your work is better than Harry Potter. And I told him, I said, well, you know what? I'll tell you this. My book series, no plot holes. I combed through my whole plot so deeply to make sure there is no plot holes. And anything that could be construed as a plot hole, I tie it up in the last book in a nice, neat little bow. So, but with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the final score. And for the final score of Realm of the Gods, or The Realm of Gods, Book 3 or 4, Book 4 in the Chronicles of Chaos, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. Like I said, I really did enjoy it. I thought he was going places, like with order and chaos needing to be in balance. Neither one could ever catch or beat the other, but I was a little confused about the mirror thing, but I was really glad we got to pretty much wrap up this story and bring it to an end, even if it is left a little open-ended, so he has a back door to come in and keep writing if he wants. I was fine with everything that happened to all the different characters, and it would just be interesting to actually see where else can this story go. Because like I said, there is kind of a cliffhanger that kind of feels like this story can go on. And it can go on as long as the author wants to keep it going on. So, but that is going to go ahead and wrap up this review. If you are a writer yourself and you have a book series, please let me know. Get in touch with me. I'll be doing a contest where if you email me a photo of you with a copy of my book, any one of my 5 books that are already out for the Guardian of Light, you will be entered in for a contest where I will send you a signed copy of Book 6 once Book 6 comes out in September. So if you want a signed copy of one of my books, then be sure to let me know or be sure to send me an email with a picture of you and your book. Whichever book is your favorite. For me, personally, Book 3 was my favorite so far. I think until Book 6 comes out. I'm really happy with Book 6. So, alright. Oh, yeah, sorry, I totally spaced. If you're a writer and you have a book and you want me to do a review, please get in touch with me. Like I said, my email is down below. You can also find links to my face or my Twitter and stuff from the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. And yeah, let me know you want me to review your audiobook. I only do audiobooks because, as I've said before, I'm kind of a busy person. I'm doing the YouTube, I'm doing my books, I'm being a father. It's hard on my own, but I'm getting it done. I also have another job, so to pay the bills until the book thing starts taking off. So I'm really kind of trying to find a good, like, murder mystery from and I only do self-published work, by the way. I only want to help out self-published authors because the big businesses, they got those other guys. Brandon Sanderson, oh my god. I am so sick of hearing about books from Brandon Sanderson, or whatever his name is. I've never read any of his work. I get it. He might be a great author. He's probably a great fantasy writer. But you know what? He's got plenty of support. Every channel, even new book channels, that's all they want to talk about. Is that dude, Stephen King. I mean, yeah, I like Stephen King. I've talked about some of his work, but I don't make it every video. So, I want to help out the smaller guys. I want to help out other self-published authors like myself, like Glenn here, who wrote an amazing series. And I feel like we, as self-published authors, we have to be spreading the word about each other. We have to get out there and help each other, promote each other, get each other's work out there. So yeah, please, definitely check out his book. It's really good. If you haven't, if you're not convinced, I mean, I didn't spoil anything for you. Trust me. Go check it out. And I will see you all in the next review. Have a great day.